everyone, it's Catherine here from Inky Finger Cat, and I'm here with another Scrapbook album flip through. This is going to bring us completely up to date. What I've done is I've condensed some old postbound albums into this ring-bound D-ring one, and I've got everything in all the way up to the end of June 2024. So there's some slightly older ones, but also the ones that I've been making in the last couple of months since I've come back to scrapbooking. So some of them will be already things that are already up on my channel towards the end of the album, and the beginning part of the album is stuff that is well, yeah, quite a lot older. So I'm gonna flip through and let's have a look at what we've done. So we have quite a mixed media page here. This was using papers and stamps and embellishments and things that came in an Artful Days goodie box, and I think I did this as a design team member, actually, this one. So yeah, lots of good goodies on this, and I really like this page and the way that it came together. All the circles in a cluster, and also I was watching a lot of Missy Whiddon at the time, so she did a lot of things stacked up on tissue paper and things, so that's what this one is inspired by. Another couple of mixed media pages, and you can see here fairly similar. I've used the same texture paste through a stencil on both pages, so they definitely link, just slightly different colour schemes across the two. And again, clusters, ripped papers, all in the middle. This one I've added thread in. This one I've got book print and a bit of a crossword puzzle, and yeah, good fun, but totally mixed media design. Totally different, however, is this one. Really, probably yeah, more of my earlier style in terms of it just being a bit blocky. I like it though, and I like these big pink flowers. I can see the adhesive coming through them though, so I clearly didn't do a very good job of that. And also stamped directly on the photos, which is a bit unusual. This one's incredibly busy. I think I obviously just sorry, it's really hard to do this without light shining on the papers, on the pages. Lots and lots of pattern paper, and I threw the kitchen sink at it. I think lots of flowers, a doily. I don't particularly like the fact that I've doodled on the words, on the letters, stickers. Loads of bits and pieces on this, but actually it's a good fun page. I like the doodles around the outside. That's quite fun. Oh, I was obviously in a doodle around the outside kind of mood, and also kind of on matting things. So having a pattern paper but matte on a darker colour or a different coloured cardstock. It's quite similar. Now, I'm pretty sure that these are Helen pages. When I say Helen pages, I mean Helen Ding, my lovely friend Helen, and she used to do classes for us all, and I'm pretty sure that these are, if they're not classes, they're definitely pieces that I've bought from her, or kits that I've bought from her that she's curated and then I've ended up putting together, or I've scrap lifted from her or something. But these are definitely Helen looking pages. Firstly, I don't remember ever owning these arrows, so I'm pretty sure that they must have been from her. And she's been doing a lot of grid layouts recently, and this really just reminds me of a Helen layout. Love it. It's fun, isn't it, that you suddenly go, oh, right. I'm fairly convinced that this is also a Helen class, because again, hearts are not something I own a huge amount of, and certainly not in that size. So I suspect that even if I didn't do this directly with Helen, I probably was using Helen's inspiration and Helen's supplies to be able to do this. Love the mix of the colours in that. It's lovely. Not brilliant stamping going on, and I've obviously tried to slightly cover that up by putting other elements on top, but I really like it. It's cute. This, I'm pretty sure, this is a jelly plate that I have used as a stamp. So I'm pretty sure I did this on my own. I mean, it's so plain. There's virtually nothing else on it. So there's a couple of stamps, a few die cuts. Oh, I like that. I've embossed on some vellum and then laid it over part of the photograph. That's fun. Oh, yeah. So there's a bit of a story. I've scrapped the same picture twice and I have no idea why. I'd obviously no memory of doing it when I came to do the second one. And it was only when I was consolidating the two albums did I realise. And I thought, like, I've seen that picture before. Yeah, that's because I've scrapped it twice. It's really funny because obviously I've chosen very similar papers and I've chosen a cluster design for both pages. Oh, yeah, this is just a slightly more close-up version of that, but it's exactly the same photograph of me and my mum. So again, I think this might have been a Helen class because I definitely don't remember having a little scalloped kind of edged die or punch. So I definitely don't think I owned those at any point, so I don't think that's me. I think that was a Helen page. This one I fussy cut from some pattern paper, got a bit of a journaling thing going on here, as well as the mixed media. So of the two, I would definitely say the right hand side is more my style, but I do really like this page with all of those banners going across and those circles, very cute. This is definitely a Helen page, as in I remember making this as well. So mixed media background using the packaging technique, and then she's provided the cut file because she's got a scan and cut, and then I think I've probably then put it all together at a later point, but definitely made all the elements with Helen. Again, very much inspired by Missy Whidden. This is quite raised. So there must be some foam as well as the sort of like the tissue papers underneath. Very cute though, love that page. This one is a page that sort of fell apart and then got reconstructed. I've not reconstructed it very well because I've actually put this slightly too far down and it's gone over some of the journaling. So I do need to fix that at some point, but lots of different elements going on in that. But I think it was a bigger piece and I've cut it down because if I remember rightly, I spilled some coffee and it went onto some of the album. And a couple of the pages got just slightly damaged at the top. So I think I've cut this down and then remounted it. Oh, that's beautiful. That looks like a Helen page. Totally looks like a Helen page. Some brushos in the background and then all these fabulous triangles. Love that. I'd probably want to redo that at some point with that triangle design. I think that's really nice. So absolutely convinced that that is that's a Helen design. That this one is absolutely something that will have been inspired by something that Helen has done, and certainly the kit I think came from Helen. I love this. I've done some sewing, so I don't think I did it at a class because I won't have done sewing at a class. But I love how that looks. So I'm pretty sure I did the creation of the background and we cut all the pieces and stuff. I think I just finished it off and added my own elements to it outside of the class. Oh, love this. This is another one of the Artful Days because that's definitely Artful Days papers and embellishments. So again, I probably did this as a design team for Artful Days back in the day. Love that, really love that. Now this one, actually the whole background was a mop-up piece that I used, that I created when I was at a class, that we did a class with Seth Apter and we did a big canvas. One of the best classes I've ever been to, absolutely amazing, love Seth, he was just fabulous. Anyway, had this mop-up panel, blah blah blah, ended up then repurposing it and turning it into a scrapbook page, but as you can see it was a bit smaller than a 12 by 12, so I mounted it then onto this wooden panel and wood paper, printed wood pattern, yeah, something like that. So I love that. I think that's great. It's a bit of me, that me and my mixed media stuff, and definitely that came from that particular class that we did, as opposed to this not really very me anymore, but you know, it's cute. The picture itself is already embellished, and then I've just added some elements onto it but kept it very blue. But yeah, doesn't really say anything to me, that one. And now we're more up to date. So this is probably one of the first bits of scrapping I did, and it was using a kit that I bought at the Crop back in April, I want to say, something like that. So this is a Hey Little Magpie, and I bought a page kit, and I made this page and then the next one using the bits and pieces that Sarah had put together. I didn't follow the instructions in the slightest. I just did my own thing, including quite a bit of sewing, bits and pieces and stuff. And this was what got me back into scrapbooking, basically. I mean, I've been watching my friend Helen, her videos on YouTube, and I've just been loving what she was doing. And I just felt like it was time to come back to scrapbooking. So this was the starting point of that. And this is the using up the scraps from that page kit to make another page. And I love this with the bits coming off it. I mean, everything that I do is still got some kind of mixed media element to it. I just love that kind of style. It's more loose, and then something like this, which is kind of like blocky, I love them sort of like clustery type pages. So there's that one. This one, can't remember why I made it, as in it, whether it was part of a challenge or something along those lines. But what I've started doing is kind of collating my own little page kits, so that I'll pull a few pieces of paper together and some embellishments maybe that I've got in the stash, trying to use up old stuff, and then I'll just work with that until I've used it all up, and just some odd little scraps back into like the scraps box. So that was one of those. There's pretty much a YouTube video for nearly all of these videos now, all of these pages now. This is similar. Again, it's part of the same papers, but obviously it looks totally different against the dark background and with that large block of the pattern paper. These hearts that I die cut for this page, this is the scrap that I've used as a stencil with those die cuts out of it. And again, I've done exactly the same on this one. Just ink, and again, totally different pages, because this is a lot of white space, but with the colours, dark, certainly more masculine looking page. And then this one is kind of fun, but with the grungy kind of look to it. So yeah, really enjoyed working with those papers. Again, this is another kit I put together. I've got quite a lot of papers, but they're not like coordinated, if you know what I mean, as in I've had them for so long, so they don't necessarily all go together. So it's more a case of me just choosing and things that I think will work well together. So this was, I think, using a 30 days of sketches from March, one of the sketches in there from Christie's Beautiful Life. The same with this one. And I absolutely love this. And I also think that the thing that's sort of slightly different nowadays is that I'm printing pictures in different dimensions. So I'm actually creating collages on things like InPost and Canva and stuff like that to create them before I get them printed. Just because sometimes the size of picture, it works better like that. This is another one of the 30 days of sketches at Christie's Beautiful Life. Goodness me, that's a mouthful. So that was another sketch that I did. I love this with the circles. I also like the cluster with the smaller cluster up here. I think that's really nice. This is another one of those sketches. I was delighted to get to use this panel, because I've had that paper probably in my possession for 18, 19, 20 years, something like that. I've just had it a long time, so it was great to finally find a use for it. I love this. It's kind of a bit scruffy and a bit messy. The other thing that I've been doing is going through my Lollipop Box Club kit pieces and pulling bits and pieces of those too. And this was for International Scrapbooking Day, following a challenge that that we had to use a larger than 6x4 photographs. This is a 5x7, which is a lot bigger than I normally would use. This one was also for that weekend. It was over at Hey Little Magpie, and we had like various challenges over the weekend. Didn't manage to do all of them, but I did some of them. And this was to use die cuts, so there's a few die cuts kind of thrown into the background of those clusters, and I love this. I really love that paper, even though it's really in your face. I really like the way that I've ended up using it for that one. This one was again another challenge, and the challenge was to use a border punch, but this was totally and utterly inspired by Sarah Davies, who did a similar one with strips, and it was rainbow, but the strips, the bigger pieces were the colourful pieces, and then she put black die cuts going across that were like border dies. So totally and utterly scrap lifted from her in terms of the inspiration. I just reversed it and had all black and white papers, and then some little bits of colour coming in the rainbow order, and then the little hearts to match. Love this page of my daughter's 18th birthday. I'm really pleased with the way that one came out. This one, I have no memory of what the challenge was, but there was definitely a challenge attached to it. I just can't remember what it was. But yeah, I love how that one came together. I think it was Helen's actually, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember the challenge. I don't remember the challenge on this one either. I think it was to use multiple photographs. So very unusual again for me to use more than 2 or 3 photographs. 3 would be the most. Usually I only use 1. So to use 4 is amazing for me. Very unusual. But I love the fact that also I love the fact that I've used that umbrella paper. I don't know why I'm obsessed with the fact that I used it, but I've had it for donkey's years, and it was great to be able to use it for something that was relevant. I also really like these circles. They sort of remind me of the Smiler, which I now have a love-hate relationship with as a bride, because this was last year when we went to Alton Towers, and it poured with rain most of the day. We had a great time, went on Smiler, wonderful. This year we went, had a nice dry day, went on the Smiler. I was not very well. I reacted to it. It's a little bit more intense than I can cope with anymore, but never mind. So yeah, love it, but don't love the feeling I get after I come off. This one I love. This was again for a challenge for the Hey Little Magpie group, which was use hexagons, which I did. Both with the paper and also the sewn elements, but also this was following a sketch from 30 Days of Sketches where there was a circle element there. Really love the way that this came together. I don't know if it'll pick it up on the camera, but can you see this coordinations paper where I've sanded it back, and I've also splattered on it, and I just think it looks so cool. Really cool. Really like that. And now we are almost up to date. These are June pages that I've done this June. So this was following a page kit that I bought from Hey Little Magpie. I followed it reasonably closely, as in you can definitely see this in the version of the page kit that we got given. I've just added things like the stamping and the sewing in the background. I've made it more higgledy-piggledy. Sarah's was a little bit more linear. This I used from the scraps, and this was following 30 Days of Sketches. This was from the June version of 30 Days of Sketches by Christie's Beautiful Life, and this was day 20. I added an extra cluster up here, but otherwise kept the sketch fairly similar to how it is on the sketch. Bringing us totally up to date, this is what I've done this past weekend. This is again using the scraps of that page kit, so I try to get the most out of a page kit. I don't particularly like buying massive kits of things because I get bored of using the same things over and over, but a page kit, if I can get 2 or 3 pages out of it, I'm really happy. So this was a page, the leftover bits and pieces, just made it up as I went along, using what I could use from that kit, and there is very little left, and I've now just filtered that into my scraps box now. And the final page is again following, this is the page kit that Sarah had put together, and I followed it fairly closely to what she designed it as, and gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous little Henry. I just added a little bit of mixed media in the background, and I cut it down and mounted it onto the brown because I wanted to bring a bit more brown in. I added another of the Hey Little Magpie dies. There's one there. I love these dies, slightly obsessed with them. But yeah, I added that into there. Other than that, pretty much kept it the same, I think. Oh, a little bit of extra stamping, but that was part of the title as well. I do need to add some journaling to that one. I've not done that yet. And that brings us totally up to date. So my intention is that now I probably won't do album flip throughs. I'll probably just do a roundup at the end of each month on pages that I might have done that month. If I do enough to justify that, otherwise it might be every 3 months or something. I hope you've enjoyed my little run through. I've really enjoyed going through the albums. I've been doing it obviously over the last couple of months now, and it's been fun to look at the old styles, the new styles, what, you know, what things are fashionable and which, you know, and also how my skills have changed over time. There were certainly some cringeworthy ones in some of those albums, but you know, they're all still fun. There are still elements of creativity in there that I've enjoyed. I think the one that stands out for me still is the one with the feather on, but it is what it is. Maybe at some point I will re-scrap those photos in a style that I don't think is absolutely hilarious. Please do give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Drop me a comment below. Just leave me a little emoji if you're not quite sure what to say. It just helps as Amy at Prairie Paper and Ink says, the robot overlords know that you enjoyed it, and you'll see similar things again in your feed, so that's really helpful for you and for me. And also subscribe. I know I get people who watch my channel who don't subscribe, but please do subscribe, because then you'll get to know when the next videos are that are coming out, and they'll start to appear in your feed more frequently. Other than that, I think that's it. Oh yeah, hit the notification bell. I will say there are going to be loads of videos coming in July. I've already pre-recorded quite a few of them because I am challenging myself to do Christmas in July. So there won't be so much scrapbooking. Any scrapbooking I do in July I'll probably not post till August, but yeah, I'm madly making Christmas cards in the background here. So this has been a nice little rest from doing Christmas stuff, to do something quite summery and bright and cheerful, that's not got holly leaves on it. It's just been nice to do that. But yeah, so there'll be Christmas in July, but then it'll be just back to normal mixed videos after that point. So yeah, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and other than that, all I've got to say is thanks for watching, and until next time, goodbye.